Hello and welcome to this special video episode of the podcast. I decided to do this on video because what I want to do today is show you the 5 most outstanding books that have changed my life. And I think with books, it's just nice to know what they look like and, to get a little bit of a feel for them. And I know they always say, don't judge a book by its cover, but I kind of do. And, if I like a book visually, I'm way more prone to actually read it. So if you're anything like me and you're a bookworm and you are visual, then I think looking at this on video is just way more fun. And also the books that I'm going to show you, they're beautifully illustrated, and it would be such a shame to only hear me raving about how beautifully illustrated they are and not actually being able to see them, to see it. So as I said, I'm a bookworm, and I remember that in my teens I basically only read fiction and I never really read non-fiction books. But in the last, since my mid-20s, I guess, I've been starting to read a lot more non-fiction. And I really love that because I love to broaden my mind, as Professor Trelawney in Harry Potter would say. And yeah, I just want to share a few of these outstanding books with you that I've read, because they really have the power to change your life. And I'm not just saying that, because it's a nice title, but they're really powerful and I can't wait to get into it with you. So let me begin my life-changing book number 1, which is Earth is Hiring by Peter Kelly. And this is just an absolute game changer, This book is magnificent and wonderful and mind-blowing and completely new in all possible ways. I've never read anything like it. And it is written so eloquently and relatable at the same time, and it's just, gorgeous. And the subtitle is The New Way to Live, Lead, Earn, Give for Millennials and Anyone Who Gives a Shit. So by the title alone, there will be a lot of shits and dams in there, so if you actually get the audiobook, maybe don't play it with the little ones around. So what I want to say about it is, though, if you were triggered by the word millennial, please don't be in a worry, because Peter Kelly gives a whole new definition of that word, one that is way more relatable and not like that definition that you usually get. And it just gives you a whole new idea of what is possible in life, how we can live our lives, how we can earn money in our lives, how we can take care of ourselves and how we can take care of others and how we can take care of the planet and just all of that good stuff. And, I'd love to quote the whole book for you because it's just so brilliant, but, I can't, so I just want to give you a little taste. So, for years upon years, society has looked at feeling good as the end result, the end and not the means. Lose weight and you'll feel better. Meet Mr. or Mrs. Right and you'll be happy. Make this amount of money and you will feel worthwhile. Sign up for this program and you will achieve something. Do this, that, the other thing, and all the things, everything, and only then you will feel good. So, but oh, how we have gotten it so very wrong. We take an action, then we seek a feeling. We act, then we feel. First act, then feel. Act, feel, act, feel. The cycle puts us on a wheel like a hamster, running ourselves into a tizzy in search of the next action we can take to create something good we can feel. Round and round and round, it's a sick cycle. What else? We have to burn out in order to feel like we're working hard enough to earn feeling good. We have to overwork in order to feel accomplished enough, and then we can't feel good. We have to quit traveling for 5 years straight so we can get a mortgage and buy a house, so then we can feel real good. It's no surprise that people lose their love for food when they follow a strict eating plan for 6 days a week so they can enjoy a cheat meal that feels good on the 7th. We are taught that feeling good is the reward and the outcome. Feeling good has become embedded in our goals, but I have some very good news. You do not have to complete an action, score the goal, get a promotion, buy the car, win the lottery to earn it. You can feel good right now, right this very second. So this just gives you a little taste of kind of like the butt kick and also the encouragement that you will get from this book. And I just love that. This was only the beginning because there is amazing, mind-blowing stuff in that book. But I think you can already taste how it is fresh and fast-paced, and yeah, just a different kind of book. So I highly recommend that. So the second book that I want to recommend is completely different in another way, because I don't know if you remember being a child and being read fairy tales by your parents, and then at one point it just stopped and you decided that you're way too old for fairy tales. Well, this book gives you a new idea of fairy tales. And the book is Good Night Stories for Rebel Girls. And it contains 100 tales of extraordinary women, and it is also beautifully illustrated. It has, for each woman that is in there, there is just a beautiful illustration of that book, like of that person that it talks about. And what this book is basically a collection of one-page stories. They're really just one page, so they're not long, about 100 different women who didn't give up, who succeeded against all odds, who just kept on going despite everyone else telling them they couldn't do what they wanted to do. And that is just so inspiring. So I suggest, when you're down and you think that you can't do it, whatever it may be for you, just take out this book and you will receive courage and confidence. And it just kind of feels like this book cheers you on, if that makes sense. And there's actually already a second version of this book with another 100 tales. And it's been translated into a lot of different languages. So if English is not your preferred language, you can get it in a lot of different languages, and it's just amazing. And the great thing about it is that it's not only for adults, it's also for, the little ones. And I actually have a friend whose daughter loves to read this before going to bed, and I think it's just an amazing thing for girls to, while they're growing up, to read about women succeeding and women not giving up and, just pursuing their passion. So yeah, I highly recommend that. And in order to give you, like a little idea of what a fairy tale for grown-ups sounds like, there's this story about Euphrosyne Cruz. And I have no idea if I pronounced that correctly, but we'll just go with it. And it says, once there was a girl who didn't want to make tortillas. When her father told her that women can only make tortillas and children, she burst into tears and promised to show him that it wasn't true. You can leave this house, but don't expect a single cent from me, he told her. Euphrosyne started out by selling chewing gum and fruit on the street to pay for her studies. She got a degree in accounting and came back home with a job as a teacher. She started to teach young indigenous girls like herself, so they could also find the strength and the resources to build their own lives. One day she decided to run for mayor of her town. She won many votes, but despite that, the townsmen cancelled the election. A woman as mayor? Don't be ridiculous, they said. Furious, Euphrosyne started to work even harder. She founded an organization called Riego to help indigenous women fight for their rights. Their symbol was a white lily. Wherever I go, I take this flower to remind people that indigenous women are exactly like that, natural, beautiful, and resilient, Euphrosyne said. A few years later, Euphrosyne became the first indigenous woman to be elected president of the state Congress. When the First Lady of Mexico came to visit, Euphrosyne walked arm in arm with her in front of the local population. She showed her father and the whole world that there is nothing that the strong indigenous women of Mexico can't do. So yeah, there you have it. Like, all of these stories are like that, and some are political, some are personal, some are just, I can't even name it. They're just beautiful stories. And yeah, they just give you courage and confidence that you can do whatever you want to do. So that's a really good night read because it's short stories. So maybe you want to check it out. Now, my third life-changing book is probably the most known of them all, and it is Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And you probably know Elizabeth Gilbert from her book Eat, Pray, Love. And this book is vastly different though, because Eat, Pray, Love was her life story, and then she wrote a lot of beautiful novels, but this book is just different. Because in this book she speaks about how each and every one of us has a treasure hidden inside of us, which is our calling, our joy, that's something that we're here to do. And I really love that. And there is this quote, like she says, your life is short and rare and amazing and miraculous, and you want to do really interesting things and make really interesting things while you're still here. I know that's what you want for yourself, because that's what I want for myself too. It's what we all want. And you have treasures hidden within you, extraordinary treasures. And so do I, and so does everyone around us. And bringing those treasures to light takes work and faith and focus and courage and hours of devotion. And the clock is ticking and the world is spinning, and we simply do not have time anymore to think so small. I love that. I really love that. You know, the thought that we're here to do things, that we're here to, get out whatever treasure is hidden inside of us. And, we don't have any time to waste. There is no more playing small and no hiding our sparkle or whatever, because the time is now to step into your true self and to be who you are and just bring that treasure out of you. So the subtitle of this book is Creative Living Beyond Fear, but don't let that fool you into thinking that this book is only for like the creative folk, like the people who write and make music or paint or whatever, because she has a different definition of the word creative. So just check it out. I've read it twice already, and I'm gonna read it a third time, absolutely, because it's just so brilliant. Now on to book number 4, and book number 4 is actually a book that I've never heard anyone talk about, and I've had this book for years, and I kind of forgotten about this book until, my boyfriend and we moved, and I found it in one of my book boxes, and then I remembered it, and I just love that book. Now, this book is called The Persistence of Yellow, and it is a book of recipes for life. And it is also beautifully illustrated. It'd be kind of strange, beautiful, but still beautifully illustrated. And I actually don't really know how to describe this book, because it is neither fiction nor non-fiction. It is just mostly 1 or 2 liners on one page that kind of stand on their own. But when you get into them, they really tell a story. So, there's this one quote, it's just 2 sentences, and it says, on Tuesday, she woke up and realized she had forgotten the definition of the word impossible. She decided it must not have been important. Or this one. On Monday morning, Juanita danced the cha-cha-cha, her sister Sylvia learned to play the accordion, Gloria invented a new language. They all decided to be true to themselves. And then there is my personal favorite from this book, and it's actually the quote that got me into this book. And it is, he offered her the world, she said she had her own. And these short sentences, they seem so simple and completely random, which I guess they kind of are. And yet when you really think about them and you let them work their magic, you notice the deeper meaning that they have, and you notice what they can teach you about life. And I think that is, just great. And what you can do with this book is actually just simply open it at a random page and then just see where it takes you. And that's the fun of this book. So that is number 4, The Persistence of Yellow. And then let's get on to book number 5. Book number 5 is not really a book, because it is a journal. And it is the Practice You journal by Elena Brower. But it's not your regular journal, it's not just blank pages. There are journal prompts in there, and she also beautifully illustrated it herself. Like this, with a lot of watercolor paintings. So sometimes even when you want to, write in it, you're like, oh my gosh, but I can't write in it because it's so beautiful, I'm gonna mess it up. Now, some of the prompts are really short, like this one. These are my thoughts of compassion for myself. And then there are other ones that are longer, like this one asks you to write to your 33-year-old self and to ask her, how have you come home to yourself in the year between now and age 33? If you're past the age of 33, write a message to yourself at that age detailing your highest understanding of what home feels like from your current perspective. What does your previous self have to look forward to when it comes to creating a sensation of home? So what Elena Brower does with these prompts is encourage you to explore yourself, to find out find out more about your life, find out more about who you are, find out more about what you want. And yeah, this book is just phenomenal in doing that with all the different journal prompts that are in there. And this book kind of makes you think about things that you don't usually consider or thinking about, I guess. So yeah, that's the fifth. Practice You a Journal by Elena Brower. Now, these are my 5 picks for the most life-changing books that I've ever read, and I hope I could inspire you to, get some of them, read some of them, and see where they take you. And I will put the links to all the books in the description. And no, I don't make any money off that. I just love these books, so there are no affiliate links or anything. I just really like that books, and I just wanted to share them. So what I would love for you to do is let me know if you've read some of these or if you consider reading some of these now. And also, what are the books that you have read that have changed your life? Because I'm always on the lookout for new book suggestions, so hit me up. Okay, that is it for my first video episode of the podcast, and that's kind of fun. I may consider doing some more of them. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. So what I would love for you to do is let me know if you've written some of these books, or maybe you consider reading some of these books now, and most of all, what are the books that you have read that... Did I just say written? I think so.